There you go. Add video so you can see my pretty yellow, my pearly yellows. What's up, everybody? Time for some hair dye. Yes, sir. Reds game or Josh? Well, the Bruins are playing the Leafs here at, I think, is the puck dropped yet? Is the puck dropped yet? Let's take a gander. So I think the puck is dropping at 8, is my understanding. The Bruins and the Leafs. Yeah, they're dropping. Puck drops at 8 for the Bruins. So let's go Bees. Let's go Bruins. But you know they're going to lose. That's why I'm not watching because you know they're going to lose. So my rep voted no on the aid to Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan, but Yoda voted yes on TikTok thievery and theft of Russian. Just all these guys, dude. It's crazy. Tallahassee, right on, John. Tallahassee. So I want to share with you this. This is it's just insane. There's my man Anomaly. Big fan of Anomaly. Hope you all can see this. Yeah, we're gonna share this with you here. Here we go. Brother saying, it's my man Anomaly right there. You should subscribe to Anomaly's channel. Anomaly kicks ass. Waving Ukraine flags in the House chambers there. We are run by foreign governments. I mean, just this is insane. It's insane. It's disgusting. It's insane. They're waving Ukrainian flags and chanting Ukraine. And they would wave Israeli flags too, except the Democratic base won't have that. They would absolutely wave the Israeli flags too. But they have an issue because they don't want to come across like they're supporting Israel because their base hates it. And the Republicans don't want to come across like they're supporting Ukraine because their base hates it. So what they do is they all get together just like all the time. We got to cut the government. All right. So the Republicans say, but don't cut NASA. Don't cut the Department of Defense. The Democrats say, we got to cut the government. We got to cut the Department of Defense and NASA. Probably not, but we got to cut the Department of Defense. And they say, well, don't cut the Department of Education. So they both go to increase. It's great. So the Republicans say, hey, I stopped the Democrats from cutting the Department of Defense as the freaking money went crazy to the Department of Education. The Democrats say, hey, we stopped the cutting to the Department of Education while the money goes crazy to the Department of Defense. I think Hitler's birthday was on the 19th. Isn't that right? Isn't that Hitler's birthday on the 19th, I think? Or was it the 20th? I think it was the 19th because that's when not when those guys at Columbine shot up those. It's crazy. I mean, these guys just, yeah. I mean, like, exactly. Like they did anything. 100%, John. 100%. Yep. Same birds. And then Mike Stupid Johnson was the guy who said, well, if we don't do this, Putin's going to run rampant through Europe. I was like, it's insane. I mean, I used to fall for this stuff, hook, line, and sinker. I used to fall for it. If we don't do it, the domino effect. If we don't do it, Hitler's going to run rampant through Europe. I'm like, when did Putin ever say he's going to attack any other place in Europe? I mean, this is the supposedly conservative Republican Speaker of the House said if we don't do this, Hitler, Putin's going to run rampant through Europe. And I said, well, so 60 billion is going to stop him, whereas all the other money before couldn't. It's so stupid, man. And I tell you, if I was a Republican running as a challenger, I would be putting that video up for everybody to see. So this is what your Congress is doing. They're supporting Ukraine over working Americans. This is what your Congress people are doing. If I was a challenger, that's how I'd show that video. Right? That's Marjorie, what's her name? Taylor Greene had posted that. I'd put that up every single time my campaign said, this is what they're doing. You want to support Ukraine? You want to support Israel, or do you want to support America? And everyone agrees on this is just insane, but no one cares because we don't control the elections. So it's just the gerrymandering. We don't gerrymander the Senate. I get it, but let's just put it this way: your election counts here in Fulton County. I was literally disgusted by that, and the fact that the Republicans bought into that hook, line, and sinker. It's some evil people, man. No other way around it. I mean, they're just sacrificing poor Ukrainians. Is all they're doing, because Ukrainians now are calling up people. The whole thing's nuts, dude. The whole thing's nuts. It's all because of us. We are the bad guys here. 100%. We are the bad guys. We push the boundaries. We should never have done that, and yet, to defend the Lindsey Grahams and John McCain's and their financial interest in Ukraine, we had to fight to the last Ukrainian. It's just disgusting. No other way around it. I'm absolutely ashamed of these people, and I tell you what, man, I don't want to fund Israel either. I don't want to fund any of that crap either, man. And I tell you, it's one of those things that you're just sitting there thinking, who's actually in charge? I mean, literally, who's in charge, man? It's crazy. And then the issue that the problem with this is where it's freaking, these guys are fantastic. The pro-Palestinian people are so nuts. You can't help but default to be pro-Israel, because the freaking other side is so insane. They're so bad. And this isn't the Palestinians per se. These are the rich white libs in Columbia University and stuff. They're so bad, so worthless. And it's all to make you have to pick a side. You're watching these people say, I don't want to be anything to do with these people. If those people are for the blue sky, then I want a freaking red sky. You see what I'm saying? Because they're so bad. They're so insane. And it's just so rich. So you hear about the people at Columbia University. One girl who was protesting. Apparently, she killed 2 people as she was driving in Vermont, and she's from Atlanta. And her dad is like a major executive at UPS. So she killed 2 people driving in Vermont. Then she went over the yellow line. She lied about if she was texting or not, which she probably was, allegedly. And a 70-year-old couple got killed by her. She got a $200 fine. Her mom paid $200. Yeah. Now that's white privilege. That's why these freaking rich whites can say white privilege, because there is white privilege if you're rich and white. But I mean, it's not even white. It's class privilege. Privilege. You see what I'm saying? And as such, it's like, because rich black people get away with it too, without question. But anyway, they got the privilege, and they assume it's because they're white. So they say, oh, white people have rich white privilege. Not us, their sister. You do, obviously. You should be in jail for a long time for killing those people. 100%. And she won't. And now she's in Columbia protesting. And the same there's other people in there who are protesting. Just all rich scumbags. Rich liberal women. Dude, this is why men need to act like men again. We've got to take it back from rich liberal women. Like that stupid chick from NPR. Oh my goodness. She's another rich girl. There's nothing worse on the face of this earth than rich liberal white women. Literally the worst people on the planet Earth. And men have got to take it back, dude, because this is insanity. Oh, I mean, I'm listening to this lady just talk. I'm like, oh my goodness. You can only be rich to talk like that. Oh, it's so bad. Ilhan Omar's daughter was suspended from Columbia this week for disruptive. Well, hopefully that's not more. Hopefully it's expelled, not just suspended. I was just listening to my man Ruined Leon. You should watch Ruined Leon on YouTube. Talk about some idiot from I think it was Columbia or something like that. She was taking down these posters of the Israeli missing people, whatever it was. And I think she got expelled. And she was like, they took away my freedom. This McCarthy, Columbia, whatever school it was, they took away my ability to have a higher education. No, they didn't take away crap from you. Just suspended. Yeah, that sucks, Ted. It's such a cluster spark. Yeah, I got white privilege. We all have white privilege because we have this pale skin, so we're inherently privileged. And I just want to know when my privileges arrive. That's what I want to know. I tell you, one of the things about white privilege, though, it does make sense. If you have a dad in your family, and the majority of white families have a dad in their family, not all of them. I was raised by single parents, single mom by and large, and then my dad by and large. But if you have a mom and a dad, you do have privilege. That's 100%. And just a good amount of white families still have a husband and wife in their family. And that means there is a privilege there, absolutely. But guess what? It's not just white privilege, because it's Asian privilege. It's any kind of privilege if you have a mom and dad, 100%. But they'll, the fact, it's just the facts, man. You come from a mom and dad household, you're more likely to do well financially, successfully than if you came from a broken family. It's just a fact. Yeah, don't treat me special. Just treat me like an illegal alien 100%. All right, so I thought it'd be fun. I want to share this article with you that I was reading. Anyway, so subscribe to my man Anomalies channel. Subscribe to that guy, Ruined Leon, one of the funniest black dudes you ever. Dude's just funny, man. And keep me in the loop of the Bruins Leafs game tonight because I know the Bruins are going to lose every single year. Every single year. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'd like to. Andrew said about the Reds. I might drive up to. I used to be a huge Reds fan growing up, Andrew. My aunt Cynthia had given me a Johnny Bench, like a baseball card, plus a Cincinnati Reds trash can. I used to freaking cherish those things. And she gave me something else too. I think a Reds pennant. So I might take one of my son, little Liam, and just go see the Reds, go see a game at the Reds Stadium. I thought we'd just drive up there and check out a game. That'd be a lot of fun. Their solution will be to outlaw fathers so they can even the privilege 100%, man. 100%. Let's get this guy out of here. We're going to get this guy out of here. All right. There's Kevin. Right on, man. You're from Cincy. Love the Reds. Yeah, man. I always still look Reds, because they had the baseball face guy. That guy was fantastic. Yeah, I'd like to. Remember last year I was reading about the Reds. They couldn't sell any seats or anything like that. I wonder if that's still true. Yeah. And Pete Rose was a Red. Celtic Spirit. Wow, you're really dropping truth here tonight. Wow. Did anyone know Pete Rose was a Red? Who knew? Did anyone know that? Next thing you know, Celtic Spirit say George Foster was a Red. Wow, you're really dropping some bombs there at Celtic Spirit. Whoa, George Foster was a Red? Next thing you know, he's going to say Joe Morgan was a Red. Whoa. Next thing you know, he's going to say Bob Gibson was a St. Louis Cardinal. Wow, holy crap. Celtic Spirit is really – Thurman Munson was a Yankee. What? Holy crap. Who knew? Oh, boy. I hope he's got a sense of humor. He's a poor boy in Connecticut. He should be all right. Johnny Bench was a Red? No. That's freaking nuts, dude. Fred Lynn was a Red Sox before he went to the Angel? What? Reds 6, Angels 2, bottom of the 5th. All right. Oh, yeah. But Joe, it wasn't the Astros. He's a Colt 45s. Wasn't the Colt 45s before the Astros, right? The Colt 45s? Isn't that where Joe Morgan came up? Yeah, see those old stadiums, man. If you're I saw something they had was in New York. They had Yankee Stadium across from Ebbets Field. It's like you could almost hit the baseball out of Ebbets Field into Yankee Stadium. I mean, yeah, it's true. Yeah, a lot of baseball fans. The people who watch are old, crusty old men, generally speaking. A lot of baseball fans, and I love baseball. Yeah, but I don't think it was Astros. I think it was the Colt 45s. I think it's what the Astros were called before they became the Astros, the Colt 45s. But I mean, so going back to baseball, there's like these pitch. I didn't know that Ebbets Field is like literally right over the river, or something like that, from Yankee Stadium. Yeah, got a fresh cut. My wife cut it today. Last night, Jill. Look at that, looking good. Yeah, March shot. She got her and what's the guy's name from the LA Clippers, whatever that guy's, Don Sterling. Yeah, they got March shot. She's so offensive. Oh, everyone just I was just listening to we watched some NBA yesterday, and only like 30 people have been banned from, or some highlights or something like that, from NBA. And Donald Sterling, or whatever his name is one of the guys permanently banned from the NBA just because he said the dreaded N-word. Holy crap. How dare you say that? So stupid. We're going to ban you for life. Crazy. All right. So I want to share with you this art. This is fun. This is a fun read here. Let's take a look here. Well, we're not going to get into any of that because if you say anything, that's we're not going to get anything on that for sure, because then everyone will say it's just nuts. Anyway, so but yeah, you can say Che Guevara. That's the funny thing. Can't say anything about some guy what Owen Benjamin calls a mean Mr. Mustache. Can't say anything about him, but you can say all the stuff you want about Che Guevara. You can say all kinds of stuff about Che. What? You can say all you want about Mao. You can say anything you want about Mao. Can't say anything about mean Mr. Mustache. It's anything but it's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. How? What happened here? It's very odd to me. And that's why I started saying, wait, what is this, man? So how can we freaking literally have Mao crap? We have Che Guevara crap, but if you say anything about the mean Mr. Mustache, you're a freaking like you're crazy. I remember Eric Davis. Yeah, I remember Eric Davis. Marge wanted Eric Davis to sweep up while he's hurt and he couldn't play. Oh man, that's fantastic. That wouldn't last from here now. Yeah, dude. Orioles. I think Orioles are in first place in the AL East. I'm going for the Orioles this year. I'd like to see the Orioles do something, man. What are you crafting there, David Luff? Anime, whatever that called, anime stuff. Is that what you're crafting? Where are you in Northern Virginia, brother? Where are you? What town? They wouldn't get away with any of that now. Now they can take a day. Isn't that crazy? You just wonder, like, how many of the old guys who played baseball, football, and stuff, basketball, were hurt, but they didn't stay out. They played. You know what I'm saying? Because these guys, Eric Davis was freaking a stud. I mean, it seemed like he didn't live. I mean, he was exceptional, but it seemed like he could have been like the next Ken Griffey Jr. if memory serves. But anyway, you just wonder how many of these guys, like back in the day, man, they could have like stayed in longer. Like, you know, Kevin Durant's 35 years old, for heaven's sake, never allowed LeBron. Whereas back then they just had to play. Isn't that crazy? Larry Bird, my son was telling me that Larry Bird hurt his back by shoveling snow. And remember, I used to have these major back pains. Lean was telling me it's because he was shoveling snow. I said, that's crazy. All right, don't forget to hit the like button, I guess. I always got to say that. Hit the like button, subscribe. And again, if you're on my Josh Scanlon page, most of the comments are on the Heritage Wealth Planning page. There's nothing that says you can't be on both. And I got a couple people on Twitter right now too. So yeah, that's exactly what my son was saying. Exactly. Yeah, Favre's concussed. Yeah, 100%. All right, so let's check out this article. Sterling, Virginia. Right on, man. Sterling, Virginia. All right, right. So let's go into this. I hope you all can see this. So this is cool. This is a fun article. You'll get a lot out of this. This is from, all right, everybody knows who Robert Schiller is, right? Everybody knows who that guy is, Robert Schiller. All right, so this is fun. Hold on a second. I do it right there. The invention of inflation index bonds in early America. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just read you some of this stuff. I'm going to stop sharing here because it's pretty cool. Maybe I will share it with you. Hold on, let me go back. Because this is fun. I very much enjoyed this article. From the 2003 from Schiller. Schiller won the Nobel Prize in economics. That in of itself doesn't mean a whole lot to me, frankly. People say, oh my goodness, hey, Bruins already up 1-0. Take that, Austin Matthews. All right, let's go Bees. Woo! Boston Bruins. Let's go Bruins. I feel bad for the Toronto Maple Leafs fans. The last time the Maple Leafs won the cup, their goalie had no mask. Isn't that like literally? Their goalie was still playing without headgear the last time the Maple Leafs won a cup. Isn't that crazy? The Schiller indicator, 10-year Schiller. If you're talking about the CAPE, cyclically adjusted PE measure, it's not great for sure. Bernie, Texas. Look at that, my man Bernie. Right on. Fast Eddie, are you in pot? Where are you at, Fast Eddie? You up in the north there? Marshawn, dude. Marshawn freaking. Marshawn drives me crazy. The Bruins are just freaking fantastic. They're just all right. So anyway, the world's first known inflation index bonds was issued by Massachusetts in 1780 during the Revolutionary War. These bonds were invented to deal with a severe wartime inflation with angry discontent among soldiers in the U.S. Army. because of the decline in the purchasing power of their pay. Although the bonds were successful, the concept of index bonds were abandoned after the immediate extreme inflationary environment passed, and they were largely forgotten till the 20th century. Isn't that crazy? Let's keep going here. This appears to be the first time that a debt contract specified payments formally linked to a price index. All right, so check this out. Those anonymous people who made this invention in 1780 apparently did so without the help of any academic or theoretical literature on indexation. John Maynard Keynes is widely quoted as asserting, right here, that most economic innovations derive ultimately from some academic scribblers. But in fact, the case of index bonds, there was no academic precursor. Let's keep going. I tell you, it's got a lot of fun. Let's keep going down here, right here. This is from John Maynard Keynes. Very interesting. Practical men who believe themselves to be quite exempt from any intellectual influences are usually the slaves of some defunct economist. Madmen in authority who hear voices in the air are distilling their frenzy from some academic scribbler a few years back. Very interesting. Basically saying, basically we're all following some kind of academic theory that happened before, even if we never heard it ourselves. I thought this was pretty funny. Right here. Already by 1780, right here, the state of Massachusetts had long-standing problems with an unstable price level due to the government's excessive printing of paper money. The problem started right here with the Massachusetts government's attempt to pay for an unsuccessful invasion in 1790 of Quebec. An unsuccessful invasion of Quebec, a war, brought massive inflation. Shocking. Unable to pay its soldiers immediately, the state government resorted to printing paper money that it promised to redeem later. These were bearer notes, and so many or most of the soldiers spent them immediately, and the notes entered circulation as a form of paper money. Since they were not immediately redeemable in specie, basically gold, they sold at a discount because they were right here. They had a promise to pay later. They're basically almost like zero coupon bonds. We're going to give you a $600 bond that you can redeem later at $1,000. But the soldiers say, we don't want these. We want to get any kind of money we can right now because there's such massive inflation. And so because they were not immediately redeemable at the par value, they were sold at discount. A discount which varied through time, not only due to changes in discount rates, but also changes in public perceptions of the likelihood that they would eventually be paid in basically specie, gold, coins. Crazy. Keep going. Further, such notes were issued to soldiers during the next war, Queen Anne's War. Massachusetts issued more paper money than could possibly be expected to repay. Printing of money continued, and public faith in the paper declined, and then sold at a substantial discount from sterling for many years, British pound sterling. All right, so basically, this is almost like the gold standard, the British pound sterling. All right, so they're basically Massachusetts is just issuing debt with no basis to pay other than the issue of more debt. Unlike the United States, we have a basis to pay. You might argue with that, but we have the strongest economy in the world. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, like we're just going to issue debt, had no backing whatsoever, none whatsoever, other than Massachusetts' promises to pay in the future. Well, if you lost faith in the paper that was issued, you're going to sell it at a discount, substantial discount. Although by 1743, the governors of Massachusetts, William B. Shirley, wrote of these problems in a report to the Board of Trade that in the last 30 years, the currency had gradually sunk in their value from 40 to 444% below sterling. Did you hear that? They sunk in value from 40 to 440% below British pound sterling. Since 1712, a law had been made to make the local currency legal tender at face value for all debts. So they're saying you have to take the currency for all debts at face value. He noted that losses were incurred by creditors of all kinds who had dealings with the people of New England and had not been cautious enough to ascertain the value of the debts by special contracts for the payment of them, either in sterling or proclamation money. So basically, suckers said, hey, we'll take your guaranteed New England, Massachusetts paper. Little do they know it wasn't worth crap. Little did they know. Because the law said you have to, there's legal tender for the face value of all debts. If you actually follow any history of inflation, you'll see that what happens, guys, at the end of the day, they're going to make it legal. They're going to make, in fact, this is a great book on that, as a matter of fact. They're going to make it, they're going to say, not only do you have to redeem this at face value, you can't take any other form of currency by punishment of law. And this is from France. And then they started executing people who said, I don't want your stupid France fiats. It's crazy. I don't want it because it's not worth crap. And they executed people. You know what I'm saying? This is like during Robespierre. Crazy. And so that's what always happens. Say, no, you have to take our money or else you're going to jail. And people start saying this is where the black market comes. And what a guy named Hernando de Soto had written about Peru, the underground economy in Peru called the Other Path. He said this is exactly what happened. Exactly what happened in Peru. All the same thing happened in Greece too. All the economy was going underground because that's where the real economy was. And what happens is you have more underground economy than above ground economy, and it's completely just it's all illegal essentially. It's crazy. Let's keep going. I mean, it's just that's what they do. You don't want our money? We're gonna make you take our money. If you don't take our money, we catch it, you're going to jail, or you're gonna be executed. All right, let's take a look. Let's keep going here. All right, check this out. One lively source of debate that arose is whether the government should ultimately pay the notes in full when the benefit accrues to speculators who bought the notes at a discount from the soldiers. Right? So the soldiers were basically selling the notes at a discount because they just needed some money to pay the bills. And then you have speculators who bought the notes and they're saying, well, should we pay the benefits in full to people who aren't the soldiers who are sacrificing their lives for the country? Isn't that kind of interesting? Let's keep going. The costs of King George's War threatened to destroy the value of the large amount of currency issued by Massachusetts to pay for the war. A further crisis was avoided by the fact that Britain, in whose behalf Massachusetts had fought the war, shipped over enough gold coins to redeem the new currency. So Britain finally said, all right, because you paid for us, you helped us fight this war, we're going to ship over actual British pound sterling to back up your currency, essentially. Problems reappeared when the state of Massachusetts once again issued paper money to pay for as part of the Revolutionary War. Once again, the state government could not raise enough money through taxes to pay for its part of the war. And once again, the soldiers were paid in bearer notes that were obliged to sell immediately at a substantial discount or they'd have no money. The wartime inflation meant that soldiers' pay was losing much of its value between the time promised and actually received. And by the time the soldiers were able to spend it or send it to families to spend it, the value was way down. The soldiers had been paid in nominal terms, but had been cheated by inflation out of their real pay. A situation that strongly discouraged their willingness to serve their country further. A Massachusetts Act of 1777 called An Act to Prevent Monopoly and Oppression attempted to deal with the problem of inflation by fixing prices. That never works. I mean, that never fails, fixing prices. The act gave a list of prices measured in Massachusetts pounds of 50 commodities in Boston to be used at that time to allow government fixing of prices to forestall wartime inflation. Price controls. It always works. The price fixing policy was disastrous. It substantially shut down the market for basic needs. And when it shuts down the supply, regardless of the money being in circulation, when supply is shut down, what happens to prices? It goes to the roof. It's not too much money chasing too few goods. It's always too few goods. And when you fix prices, you always and everywhere have too few goods being supplied, i.e. manufactured or created. And price fixing is the worst freaking economic thing there is. Minimum wage is horrible. Price fixing is so much worse because you're literally telling your suppliers, hey, 1 second. Get off there. Oh, you're telling your producers, we're going to limit your ability to make a profit. And what happens is the currency keeps going up in value because the prices are now fixed at a certain X, at an X level, which limits the supply. When supply is limited, the prices go up, it's just a basic supply and demand. And so now the guy who produces that supply, he's losing money on every freaking transaction because I'm not going to produce anymore, which leads to shutting down the market for the things that are under price controls. Price control, literally the worst thing there is. It's insanely stupid. So another expedient was clearly necessary to ensure just compensation to soldiers. By the late 1770s, when these first inflation index bonds were conceived and designed for the War of Independence, the British Army had just captured the state of Georgia and had just taken, this is in 1779, excuse me. The British Army had just captured the state of Georgia and had taken Charleston, South Carolina. The eastern seaboard of the United States was blocked by the British Navy. Crazy. The morale of the United States Army was low. They were poorly fed, poorly clothed, and often sick. The morale was so low, as we now know, there were actual Army mutinies in 1780 and 1781. I didn't know that. There is real concern that in 1799, it would be impossible to keep an army if something was not done to address the loss of the value of the soldiers' pay. And the invention of the index bonds came to fruition right here. The depreciation bonds were created by Massachusetts as an act to provide for security and payment of the balances that may appear to be by virtue of a resolution of the General Assembly of 6th of February, 1779. All right, let's keep going. Unable to fix prices, the government of Massachusetts did the next best thing, to provide income enough to their soldiers so they could buy a basket of goods defined by a subset of the list of goods of the 1777 Act. Perhaps due to difficulties of collecting the price data, the index bonds were based on 4 of the 50 commodities described by the 1717 Act. Check this out. Here it is. Look, Paul Revere is the official engraver for the state of Massachusetts, Paul Revere. Both principal and interest to be paid in the current money of said state, Massachusetts, in greater or less sum according to 5 bushels of corn, 68 pounds and 4 parts of a pound of beef, 10 pounds of sheep's wool, and 16 pounds of sole leather shall then cost more or less 130 pounds current money at the then prices. This sum, check this out, this sum being 32 times and a half what the same quantity of articles would have cost just 2 years earlier. The sum was 32 times and a half higher than what it was in 2 years earlier. The index equals 4 in 1777 and 130 in 1780. A 32-fold increase. Can you believe that? It increased the price of goods, because war always does this, went up by 32-fold. Crazy. Those who listed for the rest of the war were given shorter maturities, which is pretty cool. We have something else in here right here. 1 second, right here. Right here. According to good Indian meal or corn cost 4 shillings a bushel. Good merchantable sheep's wool cost 2 shillings a pound. Good well-fatted grass-fed beef, 3 pence a pound. Even grass-fed beef was a big thing at that point. Stall-fed beef, well-fatted, 4 pence a pound. Isn't that funny though? Grass-fed beef costs less than stall-fed beef. I'm not sure if stall-fed beef was through corn, fattening through corn, but grass-fed beef was cheaper. It's the exact opposite today. The quantities specified on the bond all cost 1 pound at these prices. Anyway, it's just pretty cool. So let's keep going. A couple of things. The beginning right here. The beginning of index bonds and of indexing more generally in 1780 was a bright spot in the history of financial innovation. But unfortunately, it did not stick. The notes were soon replaced, and an 1782 Act provided for the eventual consolidation of state debt and the replacement of depreciation notes with new specie securities. Anyway, right here, let's check this out. As time went on in the 20th century, index number theorists realized that there's a substantial problem with a simple index such as that was used by Massachusetts. If one of the commodities used to define the index became scarce, a shortage of it develops and the price of that commodity might jump very high. Shocking. Consumers would then normally substitute for another commodity, that's called the substitution effect, and thus would not need as much money as indicated by the price index to maintain their standard of living. The price index would then jump sharply and become unrepresentative of the increase in true cost of living. If bondholders are paid the amount specified in the index formula, then they will enjoy a windfall. Since they can just switch their consumption to other commodities. Instead of buying beef, I'm going to buy pork. But I'm still getting the bond based on the price of the beef. That are not in short supply, and finding that the purchasing power has actually increased dramatically by the indexation. The bond issuers on the other side of this transaction are similarly affected, but in the opposite direction. Anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. We're just going to share with you down here. I think it's, you can't really see. Shoot. I wonder if I can make this. Oh, yeah, sweet. So check this out. Current price, I'm not sure what the D is, but it cost $4 in 1777 in January. It cost $9. That's a 50% increase in 1780. Check this out. That's current price. Rates of depreciation. You buy 1.14 for one right here in January. Then it costs 30 for one. You got to pay 30 for one. This is for per pound beef stated in the monopoly bill. So you pay one, basically was for simplicity, $1 for one in 1777. 3 years later, $30 for one. This right here is Indian corn stated in the monopoly bill, 4 cents per bushel. Oh, there you go, 4 cents per bushel in 1777. 8 pounds per bushel in whatever that is, 1780. Isn't that crazy? Wool, 3 cents per pound, whatever it is. 60 cents per pound just 3 years later. That's freaking war, man. All these freaking idiots want war, man. It's just this, the freaking idiotic. Idiotic, I tell you, man. You don't want war. Anyway, so I thought that was pretty cool. So you could actually buy a bond that says, hey, on redemption, I'm going to get 6 pounds of beef, 5 pounds of oranges, whatever it is. And I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, it is interesting info. It's all that to me. Well, the point, though, is just what he's saying in there is just basic. I mean, this is economic kind of just saying at the end of the day, because you might say, hey, this bond is going to pay me 4 pounds of beef. And if the pound of beef jumps through the roof, the price of a pound of beef, I'm not going to eat beef. I'm going to eat chicken, but I'm still going to redeem my bond for a pound of beef, if that makes sense. Yep, just give billions of dollars to Ukraine. No more wars. Yeah, what I'm saying. And this book too, Ted, this book right here, Fiat Money, Inflation in France, right here. It's crazy, man. I mean, it's nuts how bad it was. In 6 years, 45,000 millions. This is in 1780s. In 6 years, 45,000 millions of francs were issued. How inflation happens. Print 45,000 million of francs, not 45,000 millions of francs, and then make price controls. That's what it does all the time. And then enact more drastic measures. At the bond farmer. It was just a great book on inflation in France. So we're not having anywhere near this. In fact, the thing about what my man Richard Baig was writing about, he goes, look, we've looked at 40 different instances where M2 money supply doubled in 5 years. Only like 13 was there inflation after that. So we had 27 instances where M2 doubled and there was no inflation. So you can't sit there and say increasing the monetary supply, a doubling, inherently leads to inflation. It's just the evidence, at least in the 20th century, the evidence just is not there. That doesn't mean it can, but you can't say if Y, then Z. It's just not true. Yeah, war is only good for mega corporations and politicians, for sure. Absolutely. All right, so then I want to talk about, I thought it'd be fun because I've taken some negativity on various places on Twitter, on my own channel. But so you think the government, like my man Andrew, right here, my man Andrew, I'm getting 5.16 on my accrued cash flow this year, and 5. So Andrew, who's paying that interest to you, Andrew? Who's paying that interest to you? He was probably there. Ted was probably there. Man, you remember that, John? Damn, Ted. John's out to get you, man. John remembers we're all bashing you for that. That was funny. It was all fun. So, Andrew, who's paying that 5% interest, huh? Who's paying that? So I don't like government debt in terms of funding Ukraine, Israel, of course. I ran the printing presses. I hate it. I don't like the government debt to expand. No, but who's actually paying it? Where is the interest coming from, though? Well, I mean, you're saying borrowers, so you're getting the interest from somebody who's when you actually the interest is received in your account. Who's a person or the entity that actually gives you the interest. There's an entity that's providing you the interest payment. All right. So if you're receiving 5.25 because the Fed funds rate is at 5.25, somebody is actually giving you the interest, or some entity in this case. It's an entity. Now, the entity is the federal government. The federal government is actually giving Andrew his interest payment. This is just how it works. So the federal government borrows, all right? Federal government, what I'm saying. This is exactly it. Bank loan borrowers. Well, it's coming from the federal government. The federal government is the one who's issuing the debt, and the federal government is the one who's paying the bills, without question. So basically what's happening, the federal government is basically saying, we have these bonds, right? We're going to sell them to you, is what's happening. So now you own the bonds, essentially. And the bond holder, which is Andrew, is getting 5.25 on his money markets. That is coming from the federal government. So the federal government's interest payments are going way through the roof. That's what's happening. That's that $1 trillion interest. Andrew's interest credit, all right? So you got a debit and a credit. We're crediting Andrew's account with that same amount of interest. So one's going up and one's going down. Well, that's where it's freaking evil, dude. That's where in my opinion, these freaking credit card companies need to be reined in. Now the bank, if they're Andrew, what do you think the bank does with the money? Come on, man. What does the bank do with the money? I mean, so when you have a CD, a certificate of deposit, what do you think the bank does? When you loan the money to the bank, what do you think the bank does with the money? Well, yeah, but structured settlement is a whole different issue. That's the life insurance funds. That's buying a life insurance policy on someone you don't know, the insurable interest, which I find is kind of creepy. But I think the government spends too much money too, 100%. That's what I'm trying to say. All these people like some guy said I'm like AOC now or something like that. I was like, what? No, I don't want the government to do this. I don't want to spend like drunken sailors. What I'm just saying is at the end, the government spending means less freedom. It's just the more the government spends, the less freedom we have. This is just fact. But at the same time, there is a different point of view of this, which is to say every time Andrew gets an interest payment on his bank account, that's ultimately coming from the federal government. Because how's the banks get money? Well, they go to the federal government window. That's how it works, man. And all regulated through the feds. And as such, the federal government is the ones issuing these debts. And they're the ones paying the credit, or the interest. And so when Andrew and myself, I mean, I'm getting 5.25 in my Schwab money market account. It's not like Schwab money market account they're just sitting there and by and large, and mostly T-bills. Not all of them, but mostly T-bills. T-bills are an obligation against the federal government. That federal government obligation, the interest payment is going through the roof. That's why I have $1 trillion in interest, because all the interest that we owe to ourselves. This is the thing. All these people like, we owe this interest as if it's just going to this black hole or it's going to China. It's just not. It's going into our accounts. This is just a fact. And it doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's good. But now what happens was Andrew receives that income. He's got to pay taxes on it. You see how the circular thing flows here? So the government, basically they say, okay, Andrew, we're going to take all this interest. We're going to pay out all this interest to Andrew, this $1 trillion of interest. You're going to receive $1 trillion of interest, of which you're going to have to pay ordinary income tax on that interest. That's just, it's totally, hey, you working out? Right on, dog. It's not a scam. It's just, it's not a scam necessarily, but no, it's the thing. Even my man, Andrew Biggs, emailed me today, and I haven't read the whole email. You talk about how I was wrong on the federal government crowding out and stuff like that. I was like, well, where's the crowding out? Now he can make an argument, and it's a good one, that the GDP would grow more if the federal government was smaller. I don't disagree with that. But when you say crowding out, the implication is that there's no private investment. And it's just simply not true. It's just not. There's tons of private investment. Yeah, the case would be if the federal government spent less and got less involved, there'd be a bigger GDP growth. I'm not even so sure I agree with that specifically, because GDP, the measurement of GDP is, right on. Him again infiltrating, right on. So where does on your local credit union, all right, which is NCUA, regulated, all right, NCUA, National Credit Union Association, when you What's happening here is banks are knee deep in debt with the federal government. This is how it works. So banks get the money from someplace in order to loan it, right? And what a bank does, they click a little button. They say they got this money, right? And that is regulated by the federal government, right? So I'm just telling you right now, the idea that all of your income you're receiving from your banks are from credit card loans, mortgage loans, it's simply just not true. It's just not. The federal interest, that $1 trillion of interest, is coming from going to somebody, all right, is going to us, the people who own government debt. And you own government debt through CDs, through money market accounts, government bonds, all kinds of stuff. This is just a fact. Now, are you getting some interest from what's called net interest income that banks? Yes, absolutely. So banks, what my man says right here, banks want low cost of deposit funds, and they've had that for freaking years. So net interest income is the number one profit margin in a bank. In fact, when I used to be a branch manager, we'd get this P&L statement. It was actually kind of interesting to see. The money's, that's not all. It's this. I mean, at some point, it's all going to collapse. I mean, when I say collapse, it's not going to happen overnight. But I mean, at some points, it won't go on. But when? This is the issue. Going back to Andrew Biggs, I'm a big fan, but I'm just like, so your argument is if we didn't do this, then that would have happened. I'm not so sure I'd agree with that because it's easy to say. It's easy to say. You know, it's like kind of like if we didn't supposedly nuke Hiroshima, then 400,000 American soldiers would have died. You know what I'm saying? It's like if we didn't make everyone wear masks, 10 million people would have died of coronavirus. You know, I mean, it's always easy to say that. I get kind of over that kind of stuff. Like if we didn't do this, bad things would have happened. Like if the government get involved, the GDP would be low. I don't know because GDP is a big measurement. Part of GDP is government spending. It's just a fact. I don't. No, dude. I tell them to use it. No, dude. No way. You want them to use cash? Don't tell them to use a credit card. I try to teach my friends to use a credit card instead of a debit card. No, don't do that. Don't do that. But they don't. That's the thing, John. No, don't get them. No. Don't get them to fall into that because they don't pay it off. This is the issue. They don't. This is why when people, yell at me, scream at me about borrowing against their 401k, they have a legit point. Because a lot of people, they see like free money and they start spending it more and more. All they start to get big eyes. Yeah, you never have a balance. You never balance, but they will. I'm just telling you right now. No, debit card is the way to go, or cash. Always have cash. I tell you, the best way to stick to the global is to just pay cash. When you can print money, you'll never run out of money. Absolutely. And that's the issue that a lot of people don't understand is that our federal government has the ability to print money that is backed by our production. And this is where people don't get our United States basis is still that we are by far and away the largest economy in the world. We still export a crap load of stuff. That is, it's somewhat bothersome that we don't export more, but I mean, that's an issue. And I'm very happy with Joe Biden's tariffs, by the way. It's funny how everyone's griping about Trump's tariffs and Joe Biden's tariffs are 3 times more than Trump's. The whole thing is just crazy. Trump wants to put Chinese tariffs on. Everyone's like, Trump's trade war. Biden wants to put Chinese tariffs on 3 times what Trump wants to do. And everyone's like, oh, no one's talking about it. I so hate the media. I despise them so much. Trump's trade war with China is going to set off mass, but then freaking Biden does it. No one says a damn thing. Dude, I'm all about it, man, especially when it comes to steel. And I don't like the idea of the Nippon Steel Company. Japanese people buying U.S. steel, but I don't know where that stands. I make credit transactions, not debit transactions on your bank card. How come? I'm not following that. Why credit, not debit, Miguel? Okay. There's more consumer safety with a credit card. Yeah, okay. I guess that makes sense. That's a good point. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, don't. Yeah, money's all debt, 100%, Curtis. I mean, that's the issue. Money is literally all debt. Absolutely. For his uncle. Biden such a freaking idiot. I read someplace say that no one likes Kamala either, by the way. No one likes Kamala. Man, the Bruins on their second power play. They're only up by 1. They better freaking credit is safer because of fraud. You can get I don't get why credit is safer. Why is credit safer? I mean, I for the fraud thing, is that what we're talking about? If the Bruins don't sink this puck, they're going to go into the end of the first period only up 1-0, having 2 power plays. Oh, they got a goal? Oh no, they're on the power play. Yeah, the U.S. definitely not an island, but what I'm saying is the U.S. at the end of the day is still the number 1 economy by far, and China's nowhere near catching up. It's just not happening. And as such, people want to do business with the U.S. because we got it going on. We do. And yeah, freaking Bruins 2 power plays and couldn't freaking. Only got 2 shots on goal. What the hell, dude? Oh my goodness. Credit. Oh, dude, Visa. How much I hate Visa and freaking MasterCard. I just hate those people. They're so bad, so bad. This is the thing. I was listening to Mike. What's the stupid guy's name? Mike, whatever Johnson's name is. I saw someone in here saying his daughter's paying 21% to the credit card company. I forgot who said that. Right here. Here's Jabbo. Yeah, that's usury, dude. We gotta rein that in, man. That's usury for sure. Yeah, China's not catching up. I'm not worried about China in the least. Not in the least. I just am not. I never carry cash. You'll spend it like a drunken salesman. Ooh, not me, man. Dude, you see about the AI stuff? I posted something that I don't know where I posted on Twitter or something like that. Apparently, the amount. Let me see if I can't find that. That's a good post. I read it from So the AI credit there ends no direct impact on your money for fraud. Debit, it takes a few. Okay, there you go. Good stuff. All right, right on. There you go, Andrew. I'm gonna show. This is crazy. Credit cards work great for me. I made thousands on it. Yeah, never had to pay. Yeah, but I do believe in cash and feel central bank currency. Yeah, I completely agree. Jack Coomson. I actually try to encourage my wife to spend cash, and she doesn't do it because I guarantee it's going to eliminate some of those friggin' discretionary spending, if you know what I'm saying. All right, so let me see this post I posted, if I can find it. Just let me show my post. I'm not that familiar with how freaking this works. I'm not going to find it. How can I not find my post? Anyway, so let's just put it this way. By 2020, I think I posted off my Facebook page too. Yeah, good point, Jill. They get your bank account. It's really bad. Dude, this is freaking nuts. If I can find this doggone thing. Come on, man. Okay. All right. So, the Stormin' Mormons. You like that name for the new NHL team in Salt Lake? The Stormin' Mormons. That's the Stormin' Mormons. Hold on a second. Oh man, Tupac Shakur with the CIA plant. I think he was actually. Right here. By 2027, AI servers may have to use between 85 and 134 terawatt hours. Terawatt. That's not megawatts. That's not gigawatts. That's terawatts. By 2027, just AI servers may use between 85 and 134 terawatt hours, which approximately equal to what Argentina, Netherlands, and Sweden each use in a year. That's just on AI. That's freaking nuts. Where's that going to come from? Oh, it's going to come from our unicorns of solar. Dude, 14,000 a year for auto insurance killing me, man. I can't say that, but how dare you say anything positive about Putin? Sounds like you're tooting for Putin. But I don't want to say anything because if I do, I'll get banned. But gotta be careful. That guy compared to what we got, Potato Head, I'll just leave it at that, man. Potato Head versus that guy. But if you get Penelope, but if you get robbed and have no cash and they get mad and shoot you, that's not good either. Wow, Penelope, you need to get the hell out of California, man. They won't let you buy in cash businesses. What happened to liberals, dude? They used to be what the? Oh my goodness, liberals used to be all about friggin' being. This is insane. They won't, and progressive, you can't use cash. Ugh. Yeah, digital currencies. Yeah. Okay, Kirk, that's good to know. Thanks, man. I was wondering how I was going to blow up a balloon. Now I know I won't ask Kirk. Yeah, I asked Metis AI what the carbon footprint for was. They claimed it less than impacts. I did a Bing AI thing today. Did you know WAP? You know that thing for WAP? I had heard is for without papers. I'm not sure that's true or not. WAP for Italians, like a disparaging thing on Italians, without papers. And Bing AI said very explicitly, it's not appropriate to use slang or it's very hurtful. Blah blah blah. I was like, wow, AI is this why I'm not worried about AI as long as it's programmed by these idiots. It was very forceful about telling me not to use anything demeaning and basically making me want to go cry in a river. I was like, wow, that is very, very hurtful. I was being very hurtful by saying a WAP, you know what I'm saying? And I guess that term came before without papers, but I guess that's what a lot of people think it was. I didn't know that. So I asked about white trash. Nah, nothing there. Nothing. I asked about Gringo. Nothing. So you can make fun of whites all you want, but you can't say anything negative about any other group. But it's like it was very, very hostile towards my idea of asking what a WAP was. Crazy. Yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's nuts. Do you know there's banks? No, he says he doesn't carry condoms. Dark Horse. Kirk says he doesn't carry condoms. It's his wife that doesn't want a fifth child. His wife's like, yeah, Kirk, you can sleep in the other room. Do you know that banks now don't even give you much cash regardless of your balance? Only 1% or so of money. Yeah, exactly. I 100% Jill. There's only about 1% of cash actually out there. We literally couldn't pay off the debt if we wanted to. That's the thing. Many Ukrainians prefer the USSR. I wonder about. I don't know. I read a lot. I see. I've always been an anti-commie. So I've read tons of stuff about. I never was big into the freaking World War II crap. I've always been bigger in the commie crap. You know what I'm saying? World War II is just boring to me. I was like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But the commie stuff, I've read tons. Now, some of this, you got to wonder how legit it is. I don't know. I mean, look, at the end of the day, after what happened in 2020, my world was shook. I was like, man, everything I thought I knew, I bet a lot of it's fake. You know what I'm saying? And I just at the end of the day, all we're going on for media reports. And if you trust the media, you're a freaking idiot. That's all there is to. So, yeah, artificial intelligence, PS for short. I did ask Bing where Cracker originated, and it wasn't mean or anything. It just said Cracker originated from cracking wise, essentially. But I'm not sure that. I just wonder if many Ukrainians actually did prefer the USSR. I don't know. And then I started wondering. I wonder if the USSR is actually as bad as what we've been told. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. And I don't want to live in Russia. I don't want to live under commies. That's for damn sure. But just you hear all this stuff, and you're like, I wonder if that's actually true. I say your civilization because as soon as we started thinking for you, it became really our civilization with what this is all about. Yeah, they're hot chicks everywhere, though, man. Yeah. All right, so let me share something with you. This is kind of interesting. Because I know a lot of you guys are down on your old buddy Josh thinking I'm a big government liberal now. And I'm not. I'm literally just not a big government liberal. That's why I like my man Anomaly. I like how he phrases it. The world is run by a mafia of 57 flavors, and you got to add the F to that now, the furries, because apparently furries are going to be part of that 57 flavors. And it's absolutely run by a mafia of 57 flavors greens. You know what I'm saying? That's just a fact. and I don't like them at all. I don't like them. That doesn't mean individuals. I don't. I don't like any kind of mafioso running rampant over our freedoms, and this is exactly what's happening. And so I don't like that. And if that makes me a Democrat, I don't know what would. That's okay. I mean, whatever. That's not a Democrat. I'm definitely more of a social conservative than I've ever been, and certainly more of a liberal economically than I've ever been. That's just a fact. I'm 100% all about raising taxes, wealth tax. I've said that a million times. Getting rid of charitable deductions, simplifying the tax code. We say tax code, just like Reagan had initially, was it 28 and 15 or something like that? Get rid of all charitable deductions. That's what the Tax Reform Act of '86, or was it before that? I can't remember. But the TRA or the TEFRA, either TEFRA or TRA, maybe it was TEFRA in '82, was a 28 and 15. Got rid of a ton of deductions and simplify the tax code. That's the way we got to do it, man. Get rid of all deductions, 2 tax brackets, done and done with a high standard deduction. Done. You know what I'm saying? Put a wealth tax on these guys. Because one of the things that about my video I did yesterday, on the economic side. I mean, look, man, a lot of whites are freaking down. They are. A lot of whites are hurting units. And we've got to make sure we take care of our base like every other political party in the history of mankind does, except the Republican Party. And I hate to say it, but if your base is predominantly whites and they're predominantly lower and middle classes, you doggone take care of these people. This is not rocket science, but no. We're going to fight hard for school vouchers, which I was always about. I tell you, we're going to fight hard for Ukraine. We're going to fight hard for freaking opportunity zones, but we're not going to fight for increasing Social Security or anything like that for our base. Yeah, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And I saw the union vote in VW in Tennessee. That's that may or may not be an arbiter. I haven't read much into it, but I saw that union vote. It looked like it was a pretty heavy vote in favor of the union. I guarantee the vast majority of those people are Republicans. You know what I'm saying? And I was always anti-union, but at this stage, the government, the corporations have just too much power. It's just 100% unequivocally too much power. And that's just so. I'm all in favor of a high anti-monopolization, 100%. I'm all supportive of what Lena Khan is doing there and keeping businesses from consolidating, because we don't want it. This has gone way on too far. And that's economics. And if that makes me a liberal, I am. But on the other side, I don't like abortion. We've been duped on the 57 flavor stuff. And it doesn't mean I hate people. I'm just saying, no, we can't be having this crap in schools. This is insane. Everybody knows it's insane. We got to go back to trying to get women back in the home. Absolutely. That doesn't mean like Jill. Jill's a single lady. She's been crushing her career her whole life. You still have a choice to do that. But we need to take a little bit of the Sharia law stuff, you see what I'm saying, and be applicable to here. We got to get rid of some usury. We got to say, no, we got to go back to some old days of biblical concepts of right and wrong. You see what I'm saying? And then, and also make sure we're taking care of our own base, because Republicans, they love taking care of other people's voters, but not our own. It's crazy. AOC is like district attorney in North Carolina, something high up in Justice Department. I don't get it. I don't get what you're saying. I don't think Trump's terrible on abortion. The charge is falling for AOC. I don't think she's that hot. I never understood about AOC. Her eyes are way out. It's crazy. I don't think so. I always wanted to go back to the States. This is what we've always wanted. Go back to the States, man. 100%. I got no qualm with it. It's like freaking let Idaho ban abortion. Let Arizona ban it. I love it. 100%. This is the problem that we've had, is it's been so federalist, the top down for so long, that we want to freaking wait. AOC is like, no, AOC is not North Carolina, is she? Well, I don't get what you're saying, man. There's a district attorney in North Carolina is like AOC. Is that what you're saying? I don't get it. I don't think AOC is hot at all. I don't get. I mean, I wouldn't freaking punch in the face. She didn't do anything for me. Weird. I don't get it. None of those people are hot. Like people like Lauren Boebert. And Kristen Noem's hot. But I bet if you got next to her, she probably packed on with makeup. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that doesn't do anything for me. Anyway, so I would just say, let the states do it. If Indiana wants to ban no abortion, it's freaking awesome to it. And then what you do is you slowly but surely start convincing other states to go the same route. Same thing with firearms. Let the states do it. If they want to regulate AR-15s, more power to them. You know, but you say, hey, at the end of the day, you can't ban all firearms. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you guys think so? Nah, dude. She's Puerto Rican, not Mexican, Kirk. That's racist. How dare you? All right, so let me share this. So I got no qualm at all. And by the way, just a side note, someone said in my comments, a couple, that the bulk of that increase in net worth has gone to the upper 10%. That's 100% true. This is not deniable. So the net worth has increased by $4 for every dollar of government spending, all right, government debt. This is a fact. Every dollar of government debt has increased net worth by 4. Can you say there's an absolute correlation there? No, but you can certainly say there's a causation there for sure. A causation, I should say, because when you see the government spending going down, the net worth or the government debt going down, or at least deficits, you see the net worth falling too. Look at Linda. Right on, Linda. Kicking ass and taking names. Now I got you. No, I 100% Celtic spirit. I was like, huh? But anyway, so at the end of the day, but the issue is that the bulk of, and when I say bulk, I'm not talking 90%, but a majority of the net worth has gone to the top 10%. It's just a fact. I'm the top 10%. And I'm not Elon Musk, all that stuff, but certainly the bulk of that government spending has benefited a smaller subset of the economy than it certainly hasn't gone to everybody. Even Stevens just hasn't. And so that's why a wealth tax is appropriate. If these guys are getting wealthy because the government is spending money, they should have to pay a little bit more. 100%. My goodness, man, it just makes sense to me. And this will echo freaking, what's her stupid name? Elizabeth Warren. You didn't do that on your own. They did. Elon Musk didn't do this on his own. Jeff Bezos didn't do it on his own. They didn't. My goodness. The guy who ran Twitter is a freaking CIA FBI thing. He didn't do it on his own. They should have to pay a little bit more tax. Oh, they do it on they do it on estate tax, but there's ways you can avoid the estate tax with trust and whatnot. You see what I'm saying? So we just say wealth tax, man, easy speasy. And if you have a wealth tax, these estates, because what happens? These guys set up these elaborate estates, these trusts, and they file 1041. As long as the income is distributed, there's no taxes to the trust. Right? If the income is put in there, there's a big tax. So no one's is retaining income in trust. It's just not happening because all the tax rate on trust on retained income is through the roof. So they distribute the income, and then they distribute the income to their favorite charities who are nonprofits who pay no taxes. So the whole thing's just insane to make rich people richer. So what you say is, no, we're going to raise taxes, have a wealth tax. So that way, if you have an estate or if you have your own personal private holdings, you got to pay a little bit of money. I got no qualm with that at all. None whatsoever. If you're a billionaire or more, the guy who just bought the Phoenix Coyotes is a billionaire. How the hell did he afford to buy the Phoenix Coyotes? His net worth is only $1.5 billion. Phoenix Coyotes cost like $1 billion or something like that. I don't know. But be that as it may, you didn't make it on your own, dude. The government is providing a lot of these guys a significant revenue increase, which they're turning around and use it to buy off the government. Shocking. So anyway, I would say freaking start tax these guys a little bit. That's not painful. Just a 50 basis point wealth tax. Yeah. Get rid of charitable deductions. Yeah. Use that money to fund Social Security. It's so crazy. It could just work. People might actually vote for you. It's nuts because your base relies on Social Security. Shocking. And then on top of that, guess what? The blacks might start voting for you too because they don't want to see Democrats waving Ukrainian flags. Yeah, definitely 100%. Family Guy, a difference between the rich and the working rich, 100%. Read a book about the Singapore guy, incorporate the best. Yeah, right, man, 100%. I was reading my man Zuby today. I don't know if you follow Zuby. He crushed. He's talking about Dubai, and everyone's like, "Yeah, but women they got to wear burqas." He said, "No, they don't. This is idiotic." And he goes, "And women aren't treated well." No, they are. They're treated very well in Dubai. Some lady gave an example. She said, I was on a flight in Dubai and I had a young child. I was by myself and I can't remember. Getting off the flight, they rushed me to the front to get me out of there because I was by myself and the young child. When I went back to Canada, I was taking too long for it to get my stroller, unparked, and people were yelling at me. I said, man, crazy. Well, you don't know it's 90 to 95%, Jill. You don't have any evidence to say that, but a lot of it happens for sure. But you don't know it's 90 to 95%. I can't stand that guy, Robert Kiyosaki. The guy rubs me wrong. I think it's a lot of and then maybe I haven't followed him for many years, but he's been doomsdayer forever. I'm sick of that. A long time ago, one of my clients was a dentist, and he was knee deep in the get rich quick schemes, and he got the Kiyosaki game. And it's just so weird. It was me and my wife and him and his wife playing this Kiyosaki game. It's embarrassing. It's like, and then Kiyosaki said he went to the military academy in New York. Well, he went to the Maritime Academy, which is a great school, but it's not USMA. Oh, yeah, dude, the Republican. I mean, look, I'm still going to vote Republican. I'm not an idiot, but after Trump, it might be it for me, man. I mean, they're just so bad. All right, so I keep freaking. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, so let's check this out. All right, so I want to show you guys right here the median sales price of houses sold in the U.S. All right, median sales price. Right, and this is not logged; it's just a traditional scale. So what you see right here is about $19,000 in 1964. Am I sharing this? $19,000 in 1964. All right, so everyone and their mom saying, "I can afford, my $10,000 house." Blah 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 blah. Hey James, what's going on, man? Well, see, that's what they said about any kind of taxes. They always say, if they tax them now, they're going to tax you later. They always say that. Dude, you tax the wealthy because the wealthy are the ones dominating politics. And you make it so they have less ability to dominate politics. And you do that by saying, we're not going to allow you to have massive charitable deductions or any charitable deductions to fund nonprofits. There's not going to be any more nonprofits. Everyone's got to pay income tax. Everyone's got to pay income tax on their net revenue. If you can still have labor costs, your labor costs, you write that off as a business expense, you might not have any net revenue. Enough of this nonprofit crap. Enough of this charitable deduction crap that Warren Buffett just gives money to the freaking Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation so they can dole out to their freaking, their nonprofits who don't pay any money. It's just the whole thing's such a freaking scam. That way there's no wealth tax. So that's why there's no estate tax. Why do you think Bill Gates and all these guys do this? Why do you think Warren Buffett is giving money to freaking the Bill Gates Melinda Foundation? Because there's no estate tax when that happens. It bypasses the estate tax. It goes directly into a charitable entity. Who turns around and then does what? They give it to other nonprofits. It's such a freaking scam. But everyone's so afraid of what this guy said right here, Chuck B. And I'm not bashing on you, Chuck B. I don't agree on taxing wealth. It's only a matter of time before they come after you. And yet, when have they come after the middle class taxpayer with a tax increase? I mean, just tell me when. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget, Warren Mondale said in 1984, both Reagan and I know taxes have to be raised. Reagan, the only difference is Reagan will say he won't raise your taxes. And I just did. And what happened to Mondale? He got smoked. Lost 49 of the 50 states. He only won his own state of Minnesota by 5,000 votes. You think politicians don't still look at that and say, yeah, we're not taxing middle-class taxpayers? Just like the third rail of Social Security. Don't touch Social Security. Dan Rostenkowski. You got to know your politics out there, guys. The idea that suddenly some magic man is going to tax friggin' raise middle-class income tax is not going to happen. Just not. John McCain was actually right, by the way, when he said he was actually, and I was adamantly against John McCain at this stage. This is in 2008 or maybe in 2006. He said, "Man, I'm not worried about tax cuts anymore because I think he said like 50% of Americans don't pay any income tax at all, or any income taxes." And he was right. A significant amount of people pay no income tax. So when they said, "What about tax cuts?" Tax cuts is, in hindsight, I was wrong. I should have said, "Yeah, it's 100% right." Enough of the tax cut stuff. Let's start getting start making it so that the rich people got to pay a little bit on the revenue that they received off of our largesse by our federal government debt. All right. So anyway, so this is the median price for a house right here. All right. So now I want to add a thing here. And we're going to. I don't know if I can go back that far. I'm not sure I can go back that far. Let's take a look here. We're going to go over here. So you saw the median price of a house. Now we're going to go look at the median. 1 second. Hold on just a second. All right. income. Median household income. All right, there we go. So the median price of a home in 1965 was about 20,000 buckaroonies. All right. The median income in 1965 was about 7,000 buckaroonies. Y'all see that? So what we do is we take our trusty calculator and we say, all right, take our trusty calculator and we're going to say, what did I say? What was the median price of a house? 25,000 bucks? 20,000 bucks. So we're going to say $20,000 divided by $7,000. So that's a ratio of 2.875 or 2.857. Right? So you needed basically 3 years of income to buy a house in 1965. 3 years of income to buy a house in 1965. Hope you're with me still. So let's go back down. We're going to say the median sales price of a home. You can see that. We can go right here. 425,000 now. 425,000 is what it is today. All right, now let's go to median income. 2023. The median income in 2023 is about $70,000 or so. 75,000, I think. Is not Georgia. Median household income. It's about 77,000 bucks. There we go. 77,000 bucks. I already looked it up. But anyway, so the median household income in 2023 is $77,000. So we take 400 and whatever it was, 25,000 divided by 77,000. So it's 5.5. It takes 5.5 years to buy a house today, relative to it took about not quite half, but a little bit more than that, about 2.85. So basically 3 years at one point and 5.5. And that's what everyone focuses on. Let's take a look at something else, though, shall we? Yes, we shall. Yes, we shall. Let's take a look at this. Average share of income spent on food in the United States, all right? Between 1960 and 1960, Americans spent 17% of their disposable income on food alone, on food. 17% in 1960. By 2000, it's down to 9.9. It's about 7.5 now. Interesting. So the price of a house has gone up relative to your income. The price of food has gone drastically down, about half relative to your income. And as I wrote about in my book here, many other things have gone down drastically relative to your income as well, which is why, as I talk about my book, we spend a lot more now on entertainment than we ever had, because our disposable income has improved dramatically relative to what it was in the 1960s or 1950s, where I was like, oh my goodness, I can have one family, blah, 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 blah. Our disposable income has improved dramatically. Doesn't mean a house is cheaper, just means we have more money to buy other stuff, which is why I always talk about new phones every year, sleeve tattoos, Starbucks. Some guy on the Wall Street Journal said, I'm not driving a used car, an old car. Oh, okay, you don't have to. People leasing their vehicles, all this stuff. Everything is not in a vacuum here, man. We have to say, okay, the price of the house has gone up. That's true. But then we look at part two of this as well. I'm not going to show you everything because it'll bore you, but we look at part two of this. The median sales price of a house for a long time now, it's been about actually, I think I can't put the graph. Hold on a second. We're going to add line household median household. I think it's what I want. I want real right there. Median household income right there. Good. We're going to make that on the right hand side. Format line 2. We got format. Put that on the right. There we go. All right, so median household income right there. So what we can see here is if you look right there, this is in 2006, the median household was $243,000. The median household income was $48,000. That's a 5%. In 2006, it took 5 years to buy a house in 2006. Let's go right here. 1999, It took about 4 years. I can even do that in my head. Let's go right here. 1992, it took about a little bit more than 4 years. Right here. 1989, 120 divided by 28. It took 4.28 years. Right here. About 4 years or so. So basically, it's been going up. The price of your home relative to your income has been going up. At the same time, your disposable income has been going up, and at the same time, the price of other things, apparel, is very, very cheap now. And I write about in my book. The big three back in the old days was food, apparel, and housing. Food, apparel, and housing. Now, housing is still number one by far. Apparel is way knee down. I mean, apparel is like 1% of your total disposable income. Entertainment is now big in there. Isn't that crazy? So all these people are like, oh, I used to be able to do this, used to be able to do that. Not relative to what you could do for food. Not relative to what you can do for basic things like a phone, travel, the whole thing. Not relative to what it did to cost for a kilowatt hour of electricity. I talk about it all in this book. So then we look at my man over here. And I'm going to share this with you. And we're going to see how much it costs. This is for food prices relative to income. And sirloin steak. It took an hour and a half of labor to buy a pound of sirloin steak. In 2019, it took a third of that in labor to buy a pound of sirloin steak. That's what that says right there. US dollars. Nominal price for a pound of sirloin steak in 1919, 39 cents a pound. Nominal dollars in 2019, $6.82 a pound. Hours of labor at the average, the cost, the labor right there is 25 cents an hour, 1.5 hours of labor. Wage rate in 2019, $12.70, 54 hours of labor. That's sirloin steak. Let's go down to milk. A quart of milk, it took you 2/3 of an hour to get 1 quart of milk of work. Now it takes 0.008 hours. Now I would say the quart of milk was better back then because it was raw. Now we got a stupid pasteurization, horrible. Coffee, a pound of coffee took you 1.72 hours of labor to get a pound of coffee. So basically, about a fourth of your work day was spent on getting a pound of coffee. Here's 0.31 hours of labor. I mean, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. The reason I point that out is because, man, it's so easy to be negative, dude. So easy. Negativity. Yeah, and then when you see it, that's the thing. It's, hey, Bruins, yes. Hey, Suzanne Girardi. Suzanne, do I know you? Are you on some other channels that I know, or did I know you from New Hampshire by chance? Is there a Suzanne? Because I knew a Suzanne from New Hampshire's a Bruins fan. This when I used to work up there. Not very, I know her. I just wonder if that's the same chick because she was cool. I'm not showing interest rates. Good point too. There, yeah, right on. I'm saying interest rates too. That's a good point because that's just the median sales price of home. Oh man, I got some of that relative to the median sales price of a home relative to the income. You show interest rates, only makes it worse too, because now the interest rates are. I mean, right now it makes it worse, but if you show interest rates, it makes it worse for back then because interest rates are much. That's a great point, Jacum Sin. What the hell is that in your avatar? You got an eye, and I don't know what the hell it is. Jacum Sin. Yeah. The McChicken. Remember when McDonald's experimented with pizza one time? They used to have the not the McRib. They used to have the thing like a styrofoam thing where they have like fresh, have a hamburger over here. Then they have like the fixings over here. I forgot what they call that. If we are being honest, it's not inflation. Sirloin ain't trading at $14 a pound, Jill. No way. Sirloin's not trading at $14 a pound. But your sentiment is correct. I completely agree. That sentiment absolutely is correct since 2000. I don't have any issue with that at all. McDLT, that's what it was, McDLT. Yep. Keep the hot and the cold cold. Yeah. Stack cash is dark horse, 100%. Yeah, well, that's a good point. But sirloin has a lot more antibiotics than I 100%, dude. I mean, I could not disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. The crap some of the reason food is bad is because it's freaking processed stuff. This is factual. I mean, all the hormones, the corn-fed stuff. The corn is all GMO corn, and I'm not an anti-GMO guy at all. I'm not gonna look. I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I'm a. It did, but I forgot about it. I'm when it comes to GMOs, I'm not convinced at all that GMOs are bad, not in the least. But I'm absolutely convinced that the freaking corn-fed stuff isn't good. I'm absolutely convinced that hormones, the antibodies they put in. I'm absolutely convinced that pasteurized milk is not good. It takes out all the good stuff, the good bacteria that you need. We need bacteria, man. It's $12.99 at Meyer regular price, but that's not double, Jill. But no, I think your sentiment is 100% right, Jill. The last 3 years has been bad, 100%. Yeah, dude, I've got 100%. If we, this is the insanity of automation. What I completely agree. I mean, and I talk about this book too, where I talk about automation in here. I mean, this you should, if you haven't got this book, guys, you should get it. It's a blast from the past of all this stuff, man. And we talk about this. Is Jill and I were arguing about refrigerators, right? Jill and I are like a married couple. We argue all the time. You should be anti. I'm not sure I am, Jill. I'm not convinced GMOs are bad. I'm just not. I've seen a lot of research that says, I'm okay. But, I mean, if I had my choice. The problem with the anti-GMO is they always want to go organic. And I don't trust those organic people as far as I can kick them. And then what they do with their designer brands is they put holes in them for sure. I'm on the ultra processed food is evil bandwagon, 100%. Amazing. Anyway, so there's a fridge right there, reduced by 52%. That's a fridge in 1979. Cost $489 back then, which is 75 hours of labor. Here's a fridge now, 2015. It costs $747, which is 36 hours of labor. That's a fridge. Microwave. I don't think I have other pictures in there. Maybe I do. Oh yeah, flying right there. Dude, this book is my favorite book. I just love it because I destroy everybody on this book. All these people saying, I'm just gonna read it. I'll get out of here. Here's from Kerry Meyer's book, Days on the Family Farm. So any of you guys from Illinois, you love this. Oh, dude, I want a good credit score. Yeah, exactly. Does GMO, Jill, send me an article on that. I would like to see, I'm not debating, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'd like to see an article that GMO takes that nutrition and favor yield. I'd like to see that. I mean, that might be true. I'm not saying it's not. I'd like to see if you got an article on that. Putting women on birth control, dude, that's horrible. Bitcoin's the ultimate asset. Oh, God. Let's see. It's pretty easy, Ted. It's not hard once you get the hang of it. It's getting the cover is always a pain in the ass for me, but I just pay this thing called Design Crowd because you want to have a good cover. You got to have a good cover, man. People do judge a book by its cover. We all do. We judge albums by the cover of the vinyl. You got to have a good cover, and a lot of people don't put any time in the cover. That's a mistake. There's pulverized by 1979 fridges. That's what Jill was saying. That her fridge is still running. New fridges. Well, mine's still running. It's 13 years old. No, 11 years old. It's still doing fine. And it's Energy Star, so it's very efficient compared to your 1979 fridge. Just throwing it out there. But I will say, at the end of the day, I did talk to a fridge guy. Who was that? One of my clients, I think. And he did say the issue with the fridges now is the electronics are blown up. And he said he would not want to be, the old fridges were easy to fix. The new fridges are they're disposable, essentially, disposable fridges. And that's a problem. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, it's so much better now. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that in the least. I am just saying that there's a different side of the story that no one talks about. Yeah, so check this out. So stationary or portable gasoline engines began to appear on farms about 1900. In 1908, Sears Roebuck and Company sold a Kenwood engine of 2.5 horsepower for $92. That's in 1908. They sold a 2.5 horsepower engine for $92. Then 7 years later, Monkey Ward's sold a 2 horsepower model for $48. This is a generator, a gasoline engine, 2 horsepower, $92 in 1909, 08 money. Before long, refrigeration allowed for the storage of milk, and urban demand for milk and ice cream grew. Milking machines became practical around 1910, and mechanical refrigeration also became an option for farmers who chose to invest and specialize. More and more brand name appeared in May's records. This May's the lady who wrote this diary. And May's records of grocery expenses with each passing year, as do purchases of fruits, vegetables, fish, and meat. February grocery records occasionally included lettuce and radishes from farther south. I tell you, that's 100 years ago. You could not get lettuce or radishes in the wintertime because there's no refrigeration or anything. Crazy. It's just right here. Will lack food even when war is ended. And what these guys say in this right here is that they said, man, the modern entities made these. I want to see if I can read it right here. The needs of the war had aroused the English farmers to discard all their old conservative methods of tilling the ground and adopt motor power and the latest types of agricultural machinery. The results had been so surprising to them that they would never go back to the old-fashioned farming of their ancestors. I want to read something else here too. Yeah, I just, air flying. I mean, it's just so, in a lot of ways, it's so much better. I mean, our freedom is less. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But our disposable stuff is so much better. Just meat consumption, right here. Americans eat over 250 pounds of meat per person per day today. Per person per year. We eat over 250 pounds of meat per person per year today, which is 150% more than we did in 1910 and a lot more than we did in 1970, which I didn't talk about. Maybe that's my next book I'll compare the two. And like I said in my book, I didn't grill out. We didn't have any meat growing up. We didn't have a grill. We didn't have any meat. The rare times on July 4th I'd have hamburgers. Microwave, I didn't have a microwave growing up. Microwave oven reduced by 95%. And the electricity required to run the microwaves reduced significantly too. Oh, man, if you haven't got my book, you are RONG. I just want to read this one other thing if I can find it. 1 second. Yeah, right here. To do a true comparison of inflation, you have to measure the price of a kilowatt hour of electricity or the price of a microwave, cell phone, television, dishwasher, refrigerator, etc., relative to what you pay today. Oh, those things didn't exist back then, huh? You didn't have a kilowatt hour of electricity, huh? But it's so much better back then. In 1913, all the money in the world would not be enough to buy a refrigerator, central air conditioning, and a television, and a cell phone. Yet a regular Joe today has all those things, even while the price of potatoes has increased over the time. Oh, my goodness. I'm so glad to be. All right, this is what I want. This is going back to my man, Prairie Mark. As a result of improved varieties, potato yields across the U.S. increased from 81 bushels per acre at the turn of the 20th century. So potatoes, 81 bushels per acre at the turn of the 20th century. But with improved varieties in farming, it improved to 149 bushels an acre in 10 years' time. So 81 in 1900 to 1910, 149. How many bushels do we get per acre today? We get, now we got to do it in pounds. All right, so let's see. A bushel of potatoes is about 50 pounds. So in 1900, an acre yielding 81 bushels produced 44,000 pounds. Okay, so we got to do it in pounds. So a bushel of potatoes is 50 pounds. In 1900, the year 1900, an acre of potatoes yielded 4,000 pounds. Today, an acre can produce 25 to 30,000 pounds of potatoes. Potatoes. Just look around. You can see that Americans are not lacking for things to eat. We are a fat society. In the early 1900s, however, only the wealthy would be fat. What is happening now is that while the price of goods has increased, our ability to buy those goods has increased even more. Anyway, so there's my man, Prairie Mark. I remember one day a week we get a 6 plain burgers for $1 at a drive-in. Yeah, it's 1 day a week. Right here, inflation. The Democrats, Senator James Exon of Nebraska, said the United States was so deeply and virtually unrepayable debt that it faced runaway inflation or the biggest tax increases in history. He said Reagan said we're supposed to have a balanced budget. Two things face us after the 1984 elections: the most monumental tax increase in our histoire, or runaway inflation that may engulf our economy as we know it. Never heard that before. Never heard that before. Whoa, we're all going to die. I mean, so someone asked me, when is it going to stop? I actually think at the end of the day is that it'd be once the net worth and the increase in dollar debt, once they're kind of level at parity, that's probably when we got to really ramp it that back. We're not going to have to before that because the net worth is increasing relative. Hey, y'all done? Good job, dude. Let's take a look at the Bruins score. I'm looking at it right now. 2-0. Oh, they did? Sweet. What's the score? Oh, nice. Sweet. We're hoping for the Knicks because I worry about the Celtics playing the Sixers. Need to eat a peck of dirt. I don't have any Bitcoin. I will never have Bitcoin. 2-zip. Right on. Josh just grins when he looks at when he looks at PR Bitcoin stuff. It's wild comparing the size and cost of tech over the years as well, like mobile phones, laptop. The only thing that hasn't changed much, kind of weird. Everything has grown in size and all that stuff. Everything has got better. The one thing that hasn't, so everything is just gone. We just improved technology all over the place. What's the one thing that has just been beyond our grasp, beyond our grasps since 1973? One thing is beyond our grasp. Everything else that we've been kicking ass to take names, but this one thing is beyond our grasp since 1973. One thing is beyond our grasp. It's weird, man. Since 1973, haven't been able to revisit this. Kind of like, what? Why? Gas mileage to the moon, space, right? Come on, man. Come on, inflation. No, it's space. We haven't gone back to the moon since 1973. And if you buy that, I got some oceanfront property in West Virginia. As they say, the technology is too hard and it takes too long to reinvent it. It's so freaking stupid. I'm sorry, man. The moon landing is such a fraud. It really is. Come on. The idea that, oh, man. We've never, 100%, dude. Come on. Everything else in the history of mankind, when we explore and we conquer, we're on there like stink on poop. Except for the moon. The moon, hey, we don't need to go. We don't need to go. Nothing wrong buying a Tesla. Just don't mandate it on me, brother. See, the UFO stuff bores me. I don't like the UFO stuff. I just don't care. It's funny. Hey, right on. Look at my man, Mike. Mike is 6'5". He's wanting to crush some heads up there in Wisconsin. Hey, right on. It's funny when they talk to these guys with their wives, like their wives are always better looking than men. I've yet to have any clients who's got a wife who's not as good looking as a man. Usually the wives are much better looking than the man. Same thing in my man Mike here. I mean, look at Mike. He's a good looking guy. Wife looks 10 times better. You know what I'm saying? I think Mike said his wife is 5'2" and he's 6'5". Good, Jill. You'd love Mike. Good Catholic folks. They're crushing. Just absolutely crushing. I was going to say something else here too. And like, I don't care if you believe me. I don't care. It's okay. I'm just goofing, man. I don't get. Remember walking through cornfields. I don't get why not. I don't understand. Why'd you say that? I remember walking through our cornfield rows. Not now. Get it. There would not be much to watch. Exactly. That's my point. And so someone's just saying something about. Come on, Neil, Buzz, and Michael. Oh, come on, man. You should look at Prairie Mark trying to find the names and addresses of people who store away gold and silver. Mark's like, how many people here store away gold and silver? And some ignorant pro say, I do, Mark. And Prairie's like, yo, what's your address? 121 Main Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Oh, do you work full time? Yeah. You work from home? No, I got to commute 50 miles a day. Okay. What's your work schedule? You have Monday through Friday. Yeah, Mike. We will meet together in the air, and it'll be the best day of our lives, brother. We're going home. Yeah, 100%. 100%, man. Rows are too close together. Is that what it is? Oh, gotcha. Oh, so that's what he's saying. They're so close together to take a bit to for the well, because corn's GMO. So I guess that's what it is. You can put more plant per acreage. That makes sense. I think you're right, man. I don't think they're going to let Trump. This is crazy. Narrow. Oh, gotcha. Is that because of GMOs or what? Dude, the feds know everything about everybody, man. Everybody. Prairie Mark. I remember back in the Banger era, Thanksgiving or Christmas, two of my brother-in-law got out their phones and bought hybrid cars via phone, kind of showing us off to the family. 3-0 Bruins. Yeah, there's not going to be any Fed cuts. I don't think so until after the election, if even there. There's something else. We left the moon. Come on, Suzanne. How'd the moon buggy get up there? All right, so just again, hear me out, and I'll be done talking about this. Just again, human beings to breach escape velocity had to travel at 25,000 miles an hour. Now they didn't do it consistently at 25,000 miles an hour. They were putting along, then they whoop, like that. 25,000 miles an hour they had to go to break escape velocity, which is escape of the atmosphere. Which now some people are saying the moon is in our atmosphere, which is 25,000 miles an hour. Human beings had to go. This contraption made of duct tape in like a meth head treehouse. Yeah. 1%. That's what. What's that guy from? So Hollywood Basement and Red Hot Chili Peppers. Anyway, but there's one thing I wanted to say here real quick. Someone said something right here. It's okay if you love the moon. I'm all cool with that. I just find it interesting too that we'll never see the dark side of the moon because the moon spins in perfect simultaneously with the Earth. So the moon spins just like this. So we'll never, ever, ever see the dark side of the moon because they're both spinning at the same time. Really. Right here. I just wanted to address something that we got here. Someone has sent something in here because I think it's important to understand. Cassius, 12 lemons, carnivore. I miss Sears and Roebuck. Still makes ice. There you go. Fridge is 25 years old. I argue with Josh more than people I disagree with. It's true. It's true. Children does. Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, look, man. We judge financial gurus by their shirts. Maine Nordiques won the first game of the NAHL. All right, North American Hockey League. First game of the playoffs, the NAHL against the Rochester Junior Americans. All right, so there's something I want to say here, and then we'll get out of here tonight. But someone had said I was able to buy something for $1 many years ago or something like that. The thing that we have to remember is that the disposable income. All right, so this is what. So you might have been able to buy. Look, I remember my first memory ever is going down to the Feeney's store in Peaks Island, Maine. I had 6 cents, a nickel, and a penny, and I could buy. I knew I could buy 3 pieces of candy or 2, depending on what I got, because they still had penny candy back then. That's the Maine Nordiques. You know, the Quebec Nordique shirt is freaking awesome. Yeah, thanks, James. Buy my new course worth every dollar. Absolutely. And by the way, you can get it. You got 30-day no look. No refund. No questions asked refund if you don't like it. Take space advice. It's not. Drove that buggy last time. What the hell was I saying? Oh, so you got to look at the income. So but I didn't have any money, so 6 cents back then obviously was a big thing for me. I remember walking out of Feeney's, I thought I was a big boy because I went by myself. And this is on Peaks Island, Maine. We only had 500 people living there, but I still thought I was a big boy. So we all have, like, I remember I could buy a soda for 25 cents. And that's all true. But then you have to look at the other side. It's an income statement. You got expenses and you got income. And so you have to look at what is my income relative to my expenses. And if my expenses are $1 on a hamburger at McDonald's and my income is only $5, well, my expenses are $2 on a McDonald's at a hamburger at McDonald's, but my expenses are $20. You see, my income's $20. See how that works? So if it's 1 to 5, that's a 5-1 ratio. If it's 2, which is double the expense you paid before, but my income's 20, that's a 10 to 1 ratio. So you just kind of look at it both ways. Now, there are many pieces of evidence that said a lot of people's income hasn't kept up. That's actually not true. I'm sick of that too, that people's income hasn't kept up with inflation. That's just not correct. It's not. You could say the lower income people haven't kept up as much as higher income people. I agree with that. But the lower income people actually have still kept up with inflation. Not much, but they have kept up with inflation. But then you got to look at who are the lower income people. A lot of times it's mostly teens. Teens, this is where the minimum wage is such a horrible thing. Teens learning how to work for the first time. They're getting the first job. The lower income people, by and large, are staying in the lower income for their whole lives. This whole thing with this high, stupid minimum wage thing and everything. Oh, it's a living wage. If you're just starting out, man, you got to, like my son just got his first job. He's making $7 an hour plus tips at a restaurant, you know what I'm saying? A cabin. And so he needs to learn skills. If they had a $20 minimum wage, they would not offer him that job because he has no skills. He's not going to be doing that job forever. He just won't be. So this idea that the lower income people aren't the same, cabin 30 years from now as they were 30 years ago. They're just not the same people. All right, I can get out of here, my friends. So the Bruins are up 3-0. So it looks like don't forget though, the Bruins were down 4-1 in Game 7 against the Leafs in 2015, I think. So just be careful, man. That's not true. Yeah. I'm always checking the ladies. My 18-year-old daughter making $20 an hour as a hostess. And she's probably getting tips too. She just finished her freshman year at college. The pay is crazy these days. I mean, she's probably gonna get tips too, man. It's crazy. 100%, Kirk. I completely agree. I do. Just doing this. I'm sitting here in my freaking t-shirt. I haven't shaved today. Heck, I was lucky to make an hour a night. Yeah, what I'm saying. It's insane the business you can have on a freaking laptop. It's nuts. Yeah, hockey, James. Hockey freaking crushes. You're a Red Wings fan, right? Because Michigan. Sorry, I was hoping the Red Wings would make the playoffs, but I didn't want the Red Wings to skip over the Caps. I was hoping the Islanders would not have made it, but I think now the Bruins are on another power play. All right, God bless. We're going to get out of here. So we're going to be interviewing, not live stream, but this guy, William Edward McQuarrie. We're going to interview him on Wednesday. It's not going to be live. I'm going to interview a guy on Thursday about masonry heating. That's going to be fun. Masonry heating. It's going to be fun. That will be live. That'll be a lot of fun. Sean Mills from it used to be Hack My Solar. I'm going to interview him in 2 weeks. He does like solar off-grid living stuff, setting up off-grid living, electricity generation. But it's not Hack My Solar anymore. I think it's Hack My Off-Grid, but it used to be Hack My Solar. I'm sure he still has the same URL. Interview him. I'm going to interview. I got someone else I was going to interview here. Derek Tharp at some point, the guy who writes for Kitsis. And I'm missing somebody. Anyway, so a lot of interviews coming up here, man. Bruins 4-0. All right. God bless, man. God is good always. 100%, Kirk. God is good. We'll see you.